Hello friends and family, welcome back to Netcode-Hub channel. So actually in this video, we are going to continue on, or let me say the continue. We're going to create an update on the project that we have done. That is a car service app. So this is a web application and it is a Blazor project. I have a video, the whole video on this, how to create this. Actually, we use a template to do this. We had the various sections as a Blazor component. We joined them together and I created our API and now we have our project ready now. But this project, it is not complete because there are a lot of things that we can actually include. So that's going to be the update. Now, the first update here is going to be about how to add login system using individual account. So what is individual account? Individual account here, it is a built-in system or built-in authentication and authorization system with Blazor project. So we're going to use that first. Then later on, the update number two, that will come going to be on the customized authentication. So using the identity row or identity user. So first of all, let's talk about it. Now, if you haven't watched the first video on how to create this, I'm not going to go through how to design this. It has been there already. And the next thing I'm going to do here is to just add the login system, and that's all. So I'll link this video, the link, how to create this from scratch. I'll leave at the description over there. So check it out and I'll click on it to watch if you want to know how to design all of this. But aside from this, in case you have any project at all in Blazor, either WebAssembly or server app, and you want to have a login system to using the same built-in individual accounts, you can also watch through this video and you may have the idea to implement that as well. Okay, so I have changed the environment. As I speak, I am not using the window that I used to use. I had an issue with it, so I'm not using a Mac. I'm not familiar using a Mac, so it's not easy. It hasn't been easy for me when trying to gather things up to look like the same as the first project. Because in how you run Visual Studio, how you run SQL Server in the Windows, it is quite different from how you run all these things in Mac. So as you can see, before you want to run this project database, you need to use Docker. So you have to download this. That is a Docker right here. And that is what I'm running my SQL 2017 server on. Aside from that, and I need to get Azure Data Studio, and that is also to implement, it's like the SSMS. Okay, so that is same as the Management Studio, the Microsoft SQL Management Studio. It is same as it. That is an Azure type, and I have to get this also. And lastly, I have to have my Visual Studio also installed. Now, the Visual Studio installation is quite different from using the type. But if you want me to go through this, maybe while watching me, you're also using the same Mac and you want to configure yours as well, then you can leave a comment on the section over there. So I may have time and I'll find time and go through all this, how to set up this environment, this project environment in Mac at some time today. Okay, so let's go through. As you can see from here, now in a previous video, to go through the project that we did, you can see that we have all our sections over here. And aside from that, we have the About Us. And all these are components that we took from the template that we created and we used. So that's not About Us. We have our services, and that's our services over here. So it is the same as the previous one. And as you can see, we have our technicians too. and that is the technician over here. Okay, and also we have one that is a testimonial, and that's going to pop up as well. The testimonials is also over here, and we have our book. So here is a contact page, and we have our booking page. So let's see, that's our testimonial. We have our contact, that's our contact, and last one we have our book. So if you want to have a service, you need to book, and the booking system is also over here. And in the previous video, we had a look at here how to create an API to get services from the database. So all these are services that you want to offer. You choose any, then you book into a database. Okay, so since here I'm using a drop down from the same region, I have to also apply a license fee, but I'm not done yet. So that's why you have this message. If I want to try this message, I have to go to authentication.com and try to get a community license for free. And now, including my project, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get rid of this. So if you want to also have a look at how to claim Syncfusion community license, it is free. And when you have the license, you can use the components in your project. So I have also a video on that, and I'll leave the link under the description, so you can check it over there and also watch it as well. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to scrap off this project. We're going to scrap the whole thing. We're going to close it up. Then we're going to create another project of the same kind. By this time around, the authentication system, we're going to choose individual accounts. So let's go to our project here. Now let's stop the debugging. So that's our solution explorer. So if you're using Windows version, it is exactly the same. Okay. So it is the same. Don't worry, it's the same. So we'll go to Solution Explorer over here. And now we have to create a new project. So let's click on File, then New Project. So you have to select App under Web and Console. So click on it. And now search for Blazor as server app. So select that and click on OK. So here, you can see we have the target framework, and because we have configured your new Blazor server app. So with authentication, we have the default one is no authentication. But this time around, since you're going to use the individual account, you have to select that. There's an inbuilt. So we just have to select that. And that is all. So you have your target framework at 7.0 or 8.0. We have your authentication. That's individual account. So click on create. And now here, you have to provide a project name. So the project name, we see here, it is Blazor server.car service. So we're going to pass in that as Blazor server.car service. But you could also make it as .carservice.web. That's for web app, or any name at all. And then the solution name is supposed to be Blazor server.car service solution. So let's choose that's a destination to keep this project. So click on that, and I'm going to choose demo. That's a new folder created. Then click on add. So click on create to get the project created. So now let's build the project while it is done. So right click on the Blazor server.car service. Now click on the build. So now you can see we have some errors here that we need to check. And we must have an internet connection because it is saying that unable to load the service index for source. And because you have an API.Nugget package. So we have to get connected to internet. So make sure you're also connected to internet as well. So as you can see from this side where I just clicked, that is the dependencies. So I click on that and click on update to let's restore packages for the project. So let's wait for that to get restored. Then we can move on with it. So if you see packages successfully restored, now let's build the project again. So right click on it, now click on build. So now let's wait for this project to be built. So we see build successful, so it means we are done with that. Now everything is working well. So here, now you can see that we have the app.db, and this tells us that with this account, it has SQLite to use. So it has added the SQLite, and as you can see, we have the area that is the identity pages account, and you can see we have this logout. So it has all the mechanism that it needs to register user and also to log out user or login user as well. Now when you go to the page, you see we have this component. Now when you check the data folder, we have our migration. That's the default migration added from the project. And you can see we have the application DB context. And I can see this class is inheriting from the identity DB context. And this is done. So now let's run this and see what we can do. So you can see that here it is starting to run. And so let's wait to see the outcome of this running. Because you want to see the output as the application being launched into our browser. So let's wait. All right, so you can see our app is ready now. And when you check the top here, because we have register and login. So if I click on register, I can register. Let's click on that and see. So you can see from here, I have all the form, and that's the email, password is a confirmed password. So let's try with the test@gmail or test@test.com. Let's pass in our password and also confirm password too. You should pass in as well. So after finishing this, register will help us get an account here. Now, when we register, it's good to perform database migration. And now, as you can see from here, the queries are running. So you can see it has created. Now, just we have register confirmation. So in a normal sense, this is not going to happen, but this is for testing purpose. In course of this application, we're going to do that, how to create confirmation mechanism to confirm email account when login or registration is done. Now you can see from here, we have thank you for confirming your email. Then we can now log in now. So click on the login, and as you can see, click on login. Let's move on. So we are logged in. Now we have hello, then our email over here, and we have the logout. All right, so let's go back, and now what we have to do here is to integrate application into this system, because this system has authentication already and authorization. So to do that, let's open. Now there is our application DB context. And also let's check the program.cs file. So you can see it has all the necessary mechanism that it needs to get the data connected to the database. Okay, so now let's go to our project. Now here, where we have our www folder, we need to now integrate our application in. So you can add an existing folder, because our application, we have the source already. So, and the source is what we did the other time. So we have to just include it and we can move on with it. So there's no way to create a new thing, everything again. No, we don't have to do that. What you have to do here is to include the old project that we have created and to just fuse it together so it works. So now let's navigate to where we have our project. And that's the www folder. So let's go to the file itself and see it ourselves so we can edit it and know the ones that we need and the ones that we don't need. Because we don't want to put in all the things that we don't want to put in. We want to put in the necessary ones. So we go to, that's a Blazor server.car service. So here, that is a project files here. Now the first one is the web that we are going to use. So the root folder, as you can see, it's over here. So just open that. And these are the source files that we see. So let's highlight all, and we can copy this. Yeah, so come here, and now let's right click. So let's see. That's the demo WhatsApp project. So open it, cast service, then go to the www folder. Good, so you can see now we've deleted all, so let's paste this. The ones that we copied, that is the actual code for our project. So now let's replace them. We want to override all, so let's do that. So here, all you have to do here is to create the new project by using the built-in individual account, then copy your source files into the current project, and that is it. Okay, so if you don't like this with you, then the next update you're going to come, we're going to start from scratch and build it ourselves. So we have added it to our www folder. So all our source libraries, our scripts, they are interactive over there. As you can see, it is copying. So let's wait for it to finish copying. Then we can actually move on with it. So we need to open to that folder too. And now you can see we have this, the shed. So we have to also copy this and I put them to the current project. So let's grab this. That is the footer, the header, the main layout from the previous project. Now let's paste it to the current one. So paste, highlight all this, and I leave the login display because that the login display displays the login and the logout and the register and login. Yeah. So delete the rest and I paste this attached to the login display. So our shared folder and our www folder, that's our static files. They are active and they are up to what the application needs to work or to function. Now left with pages. So a page that we have created, we have to also copy them and I'll put them over here. So let's do that. So we highlight all, copy, we go in there and I paste it. Okay, so let's paste them here. Good. So we have them set, shared is ready, static files ready, pages too, they are ready. Now what else do you have to do? We have to then configure them over here. So here we have to wait for a while for them to get fixed. Okay. So all that you need to do here is you have to wait for some time. It's going to fix it by itself. Now in here we have to put in the login display because it holds the login buttons. So let's put them here under the header because when you display it on top of the page. So let's call the component which was already created by the individual account. So you see when you come to this login, this is what we have. We have our logout, register, and login. So that's what we want to display. But here we're using an authorized view. So if you're not authorized, you're going to see register and login. And if you're authorized, if you access or allowed to access, you're going to have the logout. So you put them here, and that is, so just call the name of it. Now there's a class that I want us to put together, so we can just add some effects or nice look into it. So let's set the margin to maybe 2 or 3. Let's give it to each. So let's set button to none. So we're going to see it as a text with no border and with no background and set the margin to 2. So in the WW or the static folder, let's delete this because we don't need it for now. Authentication here, I added that previously, so it is not part of the project source file. So just delete that. It's not part of it. So build. And you see that we have building solution, Blazor server, that can service, debug. So we wait, now we have some error that we need to do. And it is saying that the iBooking repo could not be found. And also we have one thing, that the sync tracing component has not been recognized yet, because we haven't installed any package concerning sync tracing to use the SF drop-down list and SF drop-down list. And you might have another one as well, so radio button. So with this, how can we solve this error? Simply by installing the Nugget package. So right click on the dependencies and click on manage Nugget packages. All right, so let's pass in the sync tracing dot Blazor. So sync tracing dot Blazor. Then we're going to install SF drop-down or drop-down list. So pass in the drop, and you're going to pop up. So you see we have sync tracing dot Blazor dot drop-downs, and click on that, add to package, click on it. Now, as you can see from the status here, adding sync tracing Blazor drop-down. So let's wait. Let's add another one too, and the same sync tracing dot Blazor, and then we need to add the buttons. So we wait, we search for that and select it, and also add to the package, or add package to the project. So it has to, now you see it is adding this drop down. So one time we're going to add the buttons, and there's one more that we need to add. So it is adding it, adding the two for now. So buttons is also been added. Now the last one is the theme. So we also have to include the theme so we can have access to the CSS file and the framework. So with the host.cshtml, you see, let's see if the theme has been added to this project. And okay, wow, so that is it. You have our theme. So we need to install the theme package. So let's do that. So right click and add new package, and I'll pass in the theme package on Blazor theme package. So sync tracing dot Blazor dot themes. So when you get this, select it and also add this to the package. So we have three packages in our drop down, buttons, and themes. Okay, so when you're done, we go back to the bookings. Now the SF radio button is solved. So with the SF drop down list too, after installing the button, it's also going to be solved. You can see from the status that it is adding the button. So it is not yet done. So let's copy this import and let's paste it here to override the default one that we have. So replace. So all that we are doing here is to copy all the files into the current project. Okay, to help us render that. Very simple thing that we are doing. So when you open the import, this is what we have. So let's remove this since it is not yet added. The next project, that is the class library. So we can just clear this off for now. Later on, we're going to add that. As soon as we add the third project, that is the shared project, we're going to bring this in. And that's going to be shared models. So in this page, we have to add the sync tracing package. So we have to register it. And as we have to register by using builder.services.add sync tracing Blazor. So let's have it here. So builder.services.add SyncFusion Blazor, and that is a way to register the SyncFusion component. So when you have license too, you can put it in it, and that's a license. But since you don't have a license, we leave it as it is. So now we have to copy our project, the two projects, that is the API and the class library. So let's paste them into the project solution. So you paste them here. And you can see it is the Blazor server.car service.api and also the shared model or shared. So we have our API and now. So you can see we have all the three projects here. So now let's add them. So we're going to add this project into the, we're going to add this project to this project, the solution, using the Visual Studio. So let's click on add and now let's add this new project. So go to the same folder, and now see we have the three folders here. Although they have been added, but we haven't added to the project itself in the Visual Studio. So let's add each. So when you add, then search for the CS project, that is C# project. So choose the C# project. So as you can see from here, that we have one added, and that is our API. So our API is added. So we have two projects now in our solution. Let's add a third one. And the third one is the shared library. So let's also add that. So you can see now we have all the three projects. We have our API, our shared, and our Blazor server app. So let's see. We have all the files intact. And from this, we can click on this. And let's see, let's set it as a startup project. So let's run the API first and see. So let's build it. So set it as a startup project, meaning it's going to run that project out of the three. Then let's build that. And now what you have to do here is you have to change the URI. So the current one is at 7240. So we check it and also paste it over here. So it's going to sync with what we have here. So that's 7252. Save that. Now let's run it. Yeah, so you can see it is ready now. And we have our bookings and our service. So this was what we did the other time. Now we have our local host and it is running on the port of 7114. So that is the port that it is running on. And we have to also put that in the other one as well. So here you can see we have 7114 and that is it. So this is the file in the Blazor web server. So that's a web app and this is the one in the API. So you have to make sure we put the URI of this into the other one and also this one into the other one. So you can create the connection using the course. Okay, so we copy that and paste it here since we're not having. And there is here, it is the Blazor program.cs. You can see from here that we are adding localhost and the port of the API is 7114. So we add it over here using the HTTP client. Now the next thing left here is we have to copy our service, that's an API service, from the old project into a new one. So let's see. We have an API services selected, as you can see. So we come to your current page. And now here, we're going to paste it here. This service tool was created in the first video. So now let's go to Solution Explorer. So we can just put them together. So just minimize them. So now you see that from here, the API services issue is solved. Now what's left is the project. So let's add the shared project to the car service, that's the Blazor. So right click on it and go to project reference, and that's the dependency. So add project reference. Now let's add the shared project. That's the third one that we just added. So select the Blazor server.car-services.shared and now click on select. So this is also going to solve the problem here, because here it doesn't recognize it unless you add it to the project reference. So that's what we've done. So with time, it's going to fix itself. We have that issue also. It is still there. So let's copy this and let's go to the import. Now let's paste it here because we need to also put it over here. We're going to using Blazor server.car-service.shared, and that's we're making reference to the library project. Save it, and now let's go back. See all these errors over time, they're going to be fixed together. As you can see, everything is set now. So we can now right click, we can build the application, the whole project together, because as I speak, we've added the web, we've added the API and the class library. So let's build them together and see whether you have any error in it. Alright, so we can see that the application has loaded. Now I cheated on you because I did one step ahead before coming off here, and that is how to update or perform database migration. So if you know how to perform database migration, we did that in the previous video. Now when using Visual Studio, you can perform that, especially in on Windows. You can perform add migration, then add a name, then update database. But on my Mac here, if I decide to pass in add migration, I get some small errors. So I decided to use the .NET EF2. So how do you install? So here it is, you have to install using the command prompt, and you have to use .NET to install global.NET EF. So after making the installation, then the next thing here is to update or try to perform database migration. So how do you perform database migration? That is over here. So .NET. So as you can see from here, there is an update. Let me get you. So this to update the database. So first of all, to perform the operation, let's see from this. Okay, so it seems like I'm not getting it, but I can show you right here. So click on, you go to Package Manager Console. So in here, let me clear this first. So what you have to do here first is .NET. After making the installation, you're going to install it over here. Okay. After making the installation, .NET, so that's the .NET EF, then migrations, then add. So you're going to pass in the name that you want to create, if it is initial, or if it is creatable, if it is updated, etc. Okay. So this is going to build the application and create the file. Now, when you're done, you have to update it. So .NET EF, then database, update, and now here you pass in the file name that you use. So if it is initial, you pass in over here. If it is a create table, you pass in the create table as well. Okay, then I'm going to run the query for us and get you the data table. Okay, so let's go to application. Now, as you can see from this area, application is now ready. This is our API, so it is ready. Now, let's see. We can book over here, and also with the services, we have some default service over here. As you can see, let's go for the get method. We get all services. So get method. Now execute this to have access to the services that the app is going to offer. So that's the tire replacement, engine oil changing, thermal washing, shadow washing, and etc. So tires alignment and and the rest. Okay, so here we can also add more. Let's add one thing, maybe the service. Maybe let's say if this is delivery service, so let's execute this. Now let's see. So delivery service has been created. Now let's go to application and see. So when we try to click on book, let's see what happens. So let's click on this. Next we have delivery service. So as for this, we did this in the first video. What we are concentrated most here, it is the login. So you can see that you have the login on top here. If I go to home and refresh this, the reason I'm seeing this here is I have not gotten the sufficient community tool that the license key to get rid of that. Okay, so if I want to do that, then I have to go to the website, register account, and I'll claim a free community license. I have done that, as I said earlier on in a video, so I'll just put the link under the description. So let's see. Now this is register. So let's click on register. So let's pass in our name. So let's say this is, so let's say admin at gmail.com. The password is admin. And now here it is passing anything. And if I click on register, because the password to do not match, so admin 123, and now here the same thing. So click on register. And now let's wait. So register. Now let's save the credentials. So here necessary, you don't have to say click to confirm. There must be another way. Okay. So we will talk about that. How to send a confirmation email to the person's email address that the person provided. For to go in there, click on the button and then get activated here or get confirmed. Now this is not what we're talking about today. See, we're concentrating on the login and the register. So now let's log in. Now log in. And as soon as I log in, you will see hello admin at gmail.com. So you're going to use your name, your email as your name. Now if I click on logout, let's see what happens. I can click on logout. Then you will see it's going to log me out now. So I'm into the same area. Now, what do we have to log in? You have to log in so you can review your appointment, the schedule that you have made. You can see that from here you book. So when you log in, you can now book. And even if you don't log in, if you don't create an account, you can't book. So maybe how can we update that? Log in and then you book it. So here we're going to add role-based authorization. So after registering here, you can apply the role-based authorization. Like if the person is a user, then you want to display a certain tabs for the person, like a review, or change schedule, change appointment, etc. A whole lot. Okay, you can do a whole lot on it, and we're going to do that. But this is the easier way, because now we have our database for application on a server, one server, and then we have this login, that's the identity account, also under database, and that's the SQLite. So one application, it has two databases. How can you optimize this? So that is what you want to manually do this. So instead of choosing the individual account when creating this project, we're going to choose the none account, and I'm going to create this ourselves. We're going to do it manually. So you can put all of these in one database. That's going to be an update for the next one. But this time around, I am just showing you how to use individual accounts attach to application and make it work. I'll leave the source code over there at the GitHub. You can just go in there and I'll grab it. Also, the first tutorial, the first video, first lesson, that is creating this project, I'll put it there. So I highly recommend you to watch that video first before you can watch this, because we are building upon that. There's an update, and it's going to be update number 1. Now the number 2 is going to be about creating this authentication and authorization from scratch manually. We're not going to use the individual account. That's a built-in individual account. We're going to use an identity role and to create it ourselves. Doing that, we can put all our users in one table. We can put all our data that you want on that table. And all of these data are going to handle by one database, not SQLite and SQL Server. So in the next video, next update number 2, we're going to talk about creating the same login, register and login. We're going to do that manually. We're not going to use the individual account. We're going to do that from scratch by using the identity role and identity user to create it ourselves. Well, if you like what I'm doing, you can just give me a thumbs up. Also comment and I'll share it as well. I'll leave the source code of this under the description, so you can check it right there and I'll click on it to grab it. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'm going to catch you up some other time.